Hello friends! Today, we're diving into the tragic story of Air France Flight 4590, a supersonic Concorde that changed aviation history forever. On July 25, 2000, around 4 p.m., Air France Flight 4590 was ready to take off. This was no ordinary flight, this was the Concorde, an aircraft capable of traveling at twice the speed of sound. The Concorde was the pinnacle of aviation technology, able to fly from Paris to New York in just about 3.5 hours. This particular aircraft, registration FBTSC, had been in service since 1980 and was one of the 14 Concordes ever built. The Concorde was a symbol of luxury, reserved for the wealthy. A round-trip ticket between Paris and New York cost $12,000 back then. Adjusted for inflation, that's around $20,000 today. The Concorde's cabin, although narrow, was outfitted with luxury amenities and catered to a clientele that included business executives, celebrities, and royalty. This flight, Air France Flight 4590, had 100 passengers and 9 crew members, all excited for a swift and luxurious journey across the Atlantic. As the ground crew prepared the Concorde for takeoff, everything seemed routine. Pilots Captain Christian Marty and First Officer Jean Marcot, along with flight engineer Gilles Jardinot, went through their pre-flight checks meticulously. Despite their thorough preparations, none could foresee the tragedy that was about to unfold. At 4:40 p.m., the flight began its takeoff. The powerful Rolls-Royce/Snecma Olympus 593 engines roared to life, propelling the sleek aircraft down the runway. As the plane sped down the runway, the air traffic controller, Gilles Logelin, noticed a streak of fire trailing from the aircraft's left wing. Logelin immediately informed the pilot, but it was too late to abort the takeoff. The plane had already exceeded V1 speed, the point beyond which takeoff can no longer be safely aborted. Captain Marty acknowledged the warning but was committed to getting the aircraft airborne. The Concorde lifted off, but the fire continued to grow. The pilots tried desperately to level the plane and even shut down engine number 2, which was underperforming due to the fire. However, the plane struggled to gain altitude and speed, battling a fierce fire on its left side. Just 2 minutes after takeoff, at 4:44 p.m., the aircraft lost all control and crashed into the Hôtelissimo Les Relais Bleus Hotel in Gonesse, approximately 15 kilometers from the airport. The impact and subsequent fire resulted in the tragic deaths of all 100 passengers, 9 crew members and 4 people on the ground. The world was in shock. The Concorde was the epitome of technological prowess and luxury air travel. How could such an advanced aircraft suffer such a catastrophic failure? The crash of Flight 4590 was the first and only fatal accident involving a Concorde in its 27 years of commercial service. Investigators from the French Bureau of Inquiry and Analysis for Civil Aviation Safety, BEA, quickly began piecing together the events leading up to the crash. They discovered that the disaster was triggered by a small, seemingly insignificant piece of debris, a 17-inch metal strip that had fallen from a Continental Airlines DC-10 that took off minutes earlier. As the Concorde sped down the runway, it ran over the metal strip, which caused a tire to burst. Fragments from the tire struck the underside of the wing, rupturing a fuel tank. Fuel poured from the tank and was ignited by an electrical spark or the hot engines, leading to the uncontrollable fire. The crash of Flight 4590, coupled with rising maintenance costs and reduced passenger numbers, led to the retirement of the Concorde fleet in 2003. The last Concorde flight took place on November 26, 2003, marking the end of an era in aviation. Thank you for watching. The story of Air France. Flight 4590 is a poignant chapter in the history of aviation, highlighting both human innovation and vulnerability. If you found this story compelling and want to learn more, please subscribe to our channel for more fascinating videos.